Welcome to my channel, where there are interesting and equally sensational stories. Listen to today's story. So I've been married 16.5 years with my wife, 21. We have had ups and downs. When I met her, she was the nicest, kindest woman I'd ever met. I told her she was going to be my wife 2 minutes after meeting her. We have 2 kids that are my entire world. After our second child, she started to get distant, depressed, and different. Thought she was struggling with depression. She refused to look into it. She wanted couples counseling, but this was during the recession, and I was working 4 jobs and a side business just to barely make it another month. I couldn't afford another $50 a week, especially when she wouldn't talk to me. I asked her what was wrong, and she'd always say, "I don't know." But she'd have good weeks and bad weeks. Sometimes she'd be great. Others, she'd be mean and disrespectful. Once we were back on her feet, I begged her to go to counseling with me. She eventually said, "Okay," but I don't think she liked it. We went to a woman that I think she thought was going to just tell us that I was doing everything wrong and needed to do better. She didn't at all. At first, she told her the same thing I did. I can't work with someone. I don't know. So my wife said she needed more help around the house. Cool. This was 2015. Since then, I've worked 3 jobs, back into the house, empty the dishwasher, and sink daily, help with the laundry, take out the trash, and straighten up the house. Things were good for a bit. Then she got mean again. This time, she started snapping on my daughter a lot. Finally, I pulled her aside and told her that I would never divorce her. I would try to work and make our marriage better for as long as it took. But I think because my daughter is so much like me, she was taking her venom out on her, and I can't allow that. So if she wanted to force, that's what we do. The next day, she said she wanted to try and make it work. And for a few years, things were good. She even went to a doctor and got prescribed but insisted on the lowest dose. Pass forward to 2020, went right back to the meanness and disrespect, but worse. There was a total disdain in her voice whenever she spoke to me and a look of disgust whenever I showed up somewhere. It hurt. Sex was never a problem with us. And we both seemed to really enjoy each other. But when she got in these moods, she'd withhold. Still, I never cheated. Even though as a bartender, I had many offers. At one point, my sister told me she just assumed I had been cheating because she knew my wife wasn't putting out for so long. I told her I'd never do that. So now here we are. Last month after a wedding, we were at a hotel, and I was hoping to fool around when she told me flat out, "I don't want you. I think we should get divorced." We agreed to do it. That held off until after the holidays for the kids. She fell asleep 10 minutes later. I laid in bed with tears pouring down my face for 3 hours. I thought I was going to be the most pain I ever felt. Then there's today. A week ago, she had to go to a party from a daughter's softball team. At midnight, she wasn't home, so checked our Life 360 app, and she was at an Applebee's. Weird, but I thought she met her friend for a drink after. The thing is, she was there till 1, but they closed at 12. I asked where she went, and she said some bar with the people from the party. Never said Applebee's, which was odd. 2 days later, she said her boss told her she had to put a password on her phone because of work emails. Now I was suspicious. Today, her mom called and asked if I could help her husband move a rug. So I went to help. When I was done, I stood outside and looked at the Life 360 app to see if she had left work. She had. So I decided to try something. My wife has a bad habit of needing to talk on the phone when she drives, so I called her. She was short and said she had to go because she was talking to her mom, who was standing right in front of me. Okay. I went home. When she got there, I asked how her mom was. And if she told her I had seen her today. She said she hadn't and asked where I saw her. I said, "At her house, when I called you." Her face dropped. She tried some half-ass excuse, but finally admitted she had been seeing someone. For a few months, so before we agreed to divorce, I was shell-shocked. 10 minutes later, She was acting like nothing happened. I don't know if it was to not tip off the kids or because she just doesn't care that she crushed me, but I suspect the latter. I couldn't even talk to anyone about it as we've kept it secret that we agreed to divorce, so nobody slipped to my kids. We had to go to a Christmas village tonight, so we were all out all night. My kids knew something was wrong with me, but just thought I was in a bad mood. My son literally said, "You sound hurt. I just don't know what I'm gonna do." The prospect of divorce was already stressful enough, and I've lost 20 pounds in the past month without even trying. Just figuring out how we can do this without me losing my house. I spent the last 15 years paying off her $10,000 in credit card debt, $15,000 in student loans, and $45,000 car. Now I'm gonna owe her at least $40,000 for the house. It's going to be painful, but I think I can do it. I was finally starting to mentally prepare myself for the divorce, and then this betrayal just hit me like a ton of bricks in the last month. She's hurting me more than I ever thought possible. I don't even recognize the woman I married anymore. I don't even know what to do. My daughters are gonna be heartbroken when we tell her we're splitting up. But I don't know if I should tell her about this because I don't want her hating her mom. I'm lost, confused, stressed beyond belief, and heartbroken, and I look at my wife, and she looks like she couldn't care less. 3 months update from D-Day. Okay. So it's been 3 months from an initial post, and it's been quite a trip. I got a lot of advice on my initial post. Look at my submission history to see the original story, but I decided to follow my gut on how to proceed, and it's going okay. Still not done yet as expected considering it's only been a few months. So anyway, a week after my post, I found the guy's name when she was sending a Facebook message on her computer. Apparently, that's their sole way of communicating, most likely because he's married with 3 kids. He's also a doctor and rich. That one was a real punch in the to a guy working 3 jobs to survive. On Christmas, I found out she had told her whole family we were divorcing, along with my sister and my cousin's wives. Meanwhile, I had still told nobody out of fear of it getting back to my kids before the holidays were over. Her mom was not happy. Thought she was making the biggest mistake of her life. Same with my sister and her best friend. She didn't care. She also left out the part about her cheating, of course. Couldn't talk to her mom at Christmas because she was already starting to cry, and I didn't want to tip off my kids. So I set it up to talk to her a few days later. The next day, my wife and I sat down and talked. I thought I didn't want her seeing the guy again until everything was done. It was disrespectful. And if she wanted to divorce his friends, she doesn't treat a friend like that. She agreed. Then we discussed how we'd split things up. I think I did okay. No alimony, no child support, $5,050 custody. We both supply clothes for the kids. Everything else gets split equally. I'm keeping the house. I have to pay her $43K in equity. In the end, she walked away with about $40K. She owes her dad $10K. An 800 credit score and 0 debt, all thanks to me. When I finally went to speak to her mom, I found out when she found out we were going to talk. She came clean to her. She originally lied about cheating when her mom asked, then told her the truth. My mother-in-law was furious. Really ripped into her. Then cried to me that she was scared I was going to cut her out of my life, which I assured her it would never happen. Fast forward to mid-January. Now I'm down 40 pounds. I'm going to the gym every day to relieve stress. Now we have to tell my kids. I told her I wouldn't lie to my kids, but I wasn't just going to out her either. Her. I said if they asked. I tried to steal the conversation in a different way. She said she felt the same way. The thing is, I knew this wouldn't fly with my daughter. She's like a 14-year-old clone of me. She can spot BS a mile away, and that's what happened. Before we even said anything, my daughter asked if we were getting divorced when we sat them down. My wife said, yes. And my kids lost it. Lots of crying. I saw them crying, and I started crying. Then my wife made a big mistake. She said, listen. We both want this. And that's when my daughter let her have it with everything she had. She screamed. That's BS. My father would never want this. You want this. Look at him. He's crying. I've never seen him cry in my life. This is you. Then she asked if my wife was cheating on me. Oh, I've tried to change the subject, but she wasn't having it. She grilled her while screaming. Tell me the truth. Over and over until my wife messed up. After that, it was like I could see her brain moving. She started calling out every red flag over and over and made my wife confess to it. In 3 minutes, she got more out of her than I did in a month. Afterwards, I spoke to my kids alone. My son is 12 and just needed reassurance that things were gonna be okay and would change as little as possible. Although now, I can see he's dreading when things finally finish. My daughter told me she was crying for me, not her, because of how hurt I had to be. I comforted her and made her feel better. Then she asked me to make her a promise because I've never broken a promise to my kids. She asked me to promise that when this is all over, if my wife loses her new house and needs a place to stay for a while, I would let her stay here. All this crap going on, she could have asked anything, and she looked out for her mom. I couldn't say no. When she talked to her mom, she asked her to promise to stop talking to the guy. She broke that promise after 2 weeks. Since then, she started sneaking around again and seeing him for half-hour stints at places like Target. I caught her again and again. We had a blowout. And again, she agreed to stop seeing him, even though she still talks to him. Apparently, she has feelings for him now. Hey, like I said, she can't BS my daughter. So eventually, she'll know she broke that promise. There's no need for me to tell her. Right now, I'm in the process of refinancing my house, and she's looking for a house of her own. She's got her rich on co-signing for her, so, hopefully, she'll find something soon. Also, one other thing, and I know this one is going to be controversial on this sub. Yes, I have proof. And, yes, I know everything about this guy now. But I have decided not to tell his wife. I'm not proud to say it, but my motives are completely selfish and self-serving. The fact is if I have tell her, they get divorced. And then when my wife leaves, she has a ready-made relationship waiting for her. A rich guy who, even after divorce, will still be rich. Taking her on expensive dates and nice vacations, helping her with her bills, etc., while I struggle. As much as I want to hurt this guy, I want to hurt her more. When she leaves, her sneaking around is over, but his isn't. They won't be able to go on dates. She'll still get to see how much of a side piece she really is. They'll only be able to meet at her house, and he'll have to leave as soon as he's finished. He won't be giving her any money because he could tip off his wife. And now that she has feelings for him, she'll see if he's gonna leave his wife and family for her. I'm betting he won't, but if he does, fine. But he's gonna have to be the one to have the balls to do it. Not gonna do his dirty work for him. That's what happened with her rich aunt. She screwed a married man. The wife found out and left, and she moved right in. Went from being a broke single mom to a millionaire. That might happen with my wife, but I'm not gonna help make it happen. Thanks for reading. I still read this sub all the time, and it's been extremely therapeutic. And please try to be nice. I know everyone won't agree with everything in this post. Just please try to understand that every situation is different. Thank you. Our first reaction comes from Nero Aldrin 20. If the guy decides to leave his wife, then give her all the evidence you might have for her to take them to the cleaners. Our next thought comes from Sometimes I Am Lost. So is she with him just for the money? What is the age difference? This dude will not leave his wife and 3 kids. His wife will destroy him financially. Sorry this happened to you and your kids. Your daughter's a bright one. Good head on her shoulders. Next up from My Fun Times. I understand your view about the affair partner, but you deserve to know, and so does his wife. Don't be complicit in helping him cheat. Of course, do it anonymously, and only after your situation is finalized. Heck, Maybe you could arrange it so that the affair partner blames your soon-to-be ex-wife for the breakup of his marriage. Then both of them lose. DOP replies. Honestly, I think after she realizes he's not leaving and basically being used while all her friends and family know she's sleeping with a married man, she may do it herself anyway. And then find out that married men don't forgive that crap. Our next doc comes from Session Special. No plan will fit everyone. This is your plan. It's a long play plan. Let us know how it plays out in the end. Otherwise, good job on losing the weight and being there for the kids. One more comment from Competitive Rip 6498. Wow. Your daughter's a badass. Good for her standing up to your wife's BS. You've certainly raised some good kids. Keep being there for them. You've done such an amazing job already. I hope that you won't be put in a position where you have to follow through and promise of giving your wife a place to stay if she ends up in a bad situation, but it is commendable of your daughter that she still holds such a great deal of empathy in this situation. You're still going to come out on top and are going in the right direction. You will still come out on top. I feel bad for your former mother-in-law as well. She sounds very broken up about this. She must thank you very highly of you. Of course, the affair partner's wife deserves to know, but it is best to prioritize yourself first. Focus on what is important in your life now and worry about everything else later. Down the line, if the affair partner's wife still doesn't know, then I would send her a message. Enter Bright. Your wife may even tell her herself to push them into divorce. But if things have settled down and you don't think that their divorce would push affair partner and his money into your soon-to-be ex-wife's arms, then I would let her know. But for now, I wish you and your family the best of luck, and I sincerely hope that your wife gets a rude awakening that this married man has no intentions of leaving his family for her, and she gets cut off from his cash.